What's going on, everybody? King of Dragons 5000 here, coming at you with another figure review. Today we'll be having a look at the Medicom Toys Mafex The Dark Knight Returns Batman The Dark Knight Triumphant. And so here we have the Mafex Dark Knight Triumphant pose and out of the packaging. Before we take a look at the figure, let's actually run through his accessories really fast. The Dark Knight Triumphant does come with two different head sculpts. We do get a head sculpt where he has his cowl on. Then we do get an unmasked, beat up Bruce Wayne head. He also does come with a folded down cowl accessory, which does go with the unmasked head. He also does come with several sets of hands. We do get a pair of fists, a pair of style pose hands, a pair of hands where his fingers splayed out. We do get a pair of hands for holding the batarangs in between his knuckles. And then we do get a set of hands for holding the cape or holding a single batarang. He also does come with 4 batarangs, which are really nice. I do like the detailing on them. However, that's all we get with the Dark Knight Triumphant. I would have liked to see an extra head or two, maybe some more batarangs, but overall, this is still a very nice looking figure. So with that out of the way, guys, let's actually take a closer look at the Dark Knight Triumphant. And so here we have a closer look at Batman, and you know what? I absolutely love this figure. Go figure, the guy who likes the Frank Miller Dark Knight Returns loves the Dark Knight Triumphant, but it's not for the reasons you guys might think. Well, besides being a fanboy for the Dark Knight Returns, this is a very well done figure, and a lot of things about this figure really do stand out nicely. For starters, this head sculpt. Boy, does this head sculpt look ugly, but it's ugly in a good way. This actually does look like the cover for the Dark Knight Triumphant. If you guys aren't aware, this is not the batsuit that he wore when fighting the mutant leader. This is actually based off the cover of the Dark Knight Triumphant book, which is why it's called the Dark Knight Triumphant figure. And they did a really nice job making this figure just look hideous. It is a very beautiful head sculpt. When you look at the source material, they did a fantastic job, especially with the wash around the eyes and in the cowl. The wash right here just giving them that really gritty, dirty look. I do love it. And it's very different from what we saw with the previous Mafex Dark Knight Returns figure. Although he does share some aspects, like the cowl piece right here that is shared between the two figures. He does, for the most part, share a similar sculpt, but it is retooled just for this particular figure, which I really do like that. If we have a look at the torso right here, very, very obvious that Mafex actually re-sculpted the torso. I am really glad that they did this. When I originally saw the figure, I thought these were just going to be painted on, but no, all the scratches in his batsuit are actually sculpted on, even right here on his shoulder. That's a really nice detail, and the paint looks really good. Although it does look a little bit red right here, I think that does add to the drama of how this character looks. Again, we get another tear right here in the batsuit. I mean, he just gets messed up in the first half against the mutant leader, and this is a very nice figure. Even though this isn't the same Batman from their first encounter, it's still a very solid figure. And one thing that this figure has over the initial release, all this nice dark wash, bringing out this really great detail. Mafex sculpted the detailing on this suit very nicely, which it was on the original figure as well, but I still feel like this dark wash highlights everything perfectly. If we look at the back of the figure, they even added that wash to the back, so very, very beautiful. Really loving this paintwork on Batman right here. If we have a look at his gloves right here, you can see his knuckles are torn as if he's been punching really hard, which doesn't surprise me given this iteration of Batman. He does have the bright yellow utility belt with the blue trunks, which I know a lot of people prefer the blue Batman. I prefer black, but looking at the figure as is, it's a perfect representation of that cover figure, what it's supposed to be based off of. Really liking that. And then going on to his pants, you can see more of that really nice wash throughout the costume. We have some more tears throughout his suit, which look really gruesome. If they had added a little bit of blood on this figure, ooh, that would look so nice. But Again, this is supposed to be based off the cover of the Dark Knight Triumphant, not any particular moment in the comic, so adding blood would kind of ruin the aesthetic that they were going for, but I think it would also boost the look of this figure. I mean, they did add some red right here, which looks kind of cool, but I would like it if it was blood. That would be very nice. So having a look at Batman, he does have those bigger proportions because he is from The Dark Knight Returns, and that is a much older, beefier Bruce Wayne than we've seen in other comics. Really do like the boots. The blue looks very fantastic here. And one thing to note about this figure versus the original Dark Knight Returns figure, the cape on this figure is much longer. If I can just reach off camera really fast, and if the camera will focus camera. His cape is substantially longer than the original figure. The original figure's cape only came down to his calves. This one goes all the way down to his feet and even past his feet. So I really do like the longer cape. And something to note is that the cape material, though looking similar, feels a little higher quality than this figure. You can already see on the previous one, the cape has started to fray. This one, it does seem like it's gonna fray, but it doesn't seem like it's gonna fray at the same rate. If anything, I think this one would do better with a tattered cape, but I do like the fact that they still have a wireframe in the cape, so you can get the cape posed however you want it. Although, like I said, it's a very hefty cape and it is very big. But I do overall love the look of the figure and how it came out. So with that out of the way, guys, let's actually get Batman compared to other figures you may have in your collection. And so here we have Batman posed next to a Marvel Legends Cyclops and a DC Multiverse Superman. Here we have the Dark Knight Triumphant posed next to a WWE Elite Scale figure and a Mezco 1/12 Collective Popeye the Sailor Man. Here we have the Dark Knight Triumphant posed next to a Lightning Collection White Ranger and a Star Wars Black Series Mandalorian. And finally, here we do have the Mafex Dark Knight Triumphant posed next to the Mafex Dark Knight Batman and the Dark Knight Returns Joker. So with the comparisons out of the way, let's actually run through his articulation now. This Batman does share the exact same articulation scheme as the previous Dark Knight Returns Mafex Batman, which is a double ball joint here at the neck, which does let him look up. He can't really look down because of how his chin is sculpted, but he does have a ball joint in the neck, so that does move really nicely. You can see he does look up, looks down, tilts his head side to side, and then of course does rotate left and right. We do have a ball joint right here in his shoulder, which does provide some in and out movement, some up and down movement, and you can see it is the same Mafex joint that we've been seeing, and it does provide some decent range. His arm does go all the way around, no problem. Even though he does have a cape, it does get out of the way. Goes out to the side to about right there, so all the way horizontal at least. We already went over his all the way around, but he does have a bicep swivel. He has a double bend at the elbow, giving us a little bit better than 90 degrees. He is a much beefier figure, so I do understand why he doesn't get the full range past 90, so that is a little bit unfortunate. Then we do have the ball hinge style wrists, which do have up and down movement. We can rotate that to have in and out movement, and then of course rotates on that pin. He has a double ball joint here in the torso, which does allow him to lean back about that far and give him this really weird beer gut. He can of course move forward, giving him this really nice crunch, and then he can tilt side to side as well as rotate. Then we do have a second ball joint here at the waist, which combining both joints, you can crunch forward really far, so I really do like that. And then of course rotates, but most of your rotation comes from the upper joint, mainly because the way he's shaped, it's an oval, it's not a circle, so you really don't get full range at the waist, so do keep that in mind. Legs are on drop down ball joints, which work fine. He can kick all the way horizontal, goes back about that far, going out to the side. That is one thing I have noticed, that when you push the articulation a little bit too far, joints do tend to pop off, but it's really simple fix. As you can see, that's about the length his leg is supposed to go. I was just pushing it a little bit further. But we do have thigh rotation. Then we do have a double bend at the knee. Once again, not going too past 90 degrees too much, but it still goes decently enough. Then we do have rotation at his foot. He does have a hinge in the ankle, which does go back and forward really nicely. Forward facing pin for rocker ankle, so we can give him a true rocker ankle. And then of course we do have a toe hinge. And then last but not least, we get a wireframe in the cape. So if you want to have his cape posed, you can actually do that. So I do like the wireframe in the cape. Kind of wish that he had more wireframes throughout the cape rather than just in the front, but still a very solid figure. So with that out of the way, guys, let's actually get the Dark Knight Triumphant posed for my final thoughts, and then we'll wrap up this review. And so here we have the Mafex Dark Knight Triumphant pose for my final thoughts, and overall Mafex has knocked it out of the park with this release. I absolutely love this version of Batman, and it makes me really excited to get the 2-pack with Batman and Robin. However, looking at this figure strictly from an objective standpoint, this is probably the best Dark Knight Returns Batman that Mafex has made. When you look at the original release, which was just the gray and black suit, it was still a pretty solid figure with really good sculpt work. This one shows what a really nice paint job would have done for that figure. I kind of wish that Mafex went back and did a black wash on that previous figure, but at the same time I can understand why they didn't, because the comic book, he really had a really bright gray costume, but honestly as a collector I kind of feel like that dark wash brings out a lot in this figure. Now as you can see, he does have a lot of cape, and I do mean he has a lot of cape, and it is really absurd, but I would rather have Batman with an absurd cape than a lackluster cape like the original figure. This one does do a lot of things right, although I do feel like an extra head would have been really nice, especially one where he's probably more beat up, and a torn cowl would have also looked nice. But overall, still happy with this purchase. Now, the Mafex Dark Knight Returns Dark Knight Triumphant is a very nice figure, and if you're a fan of the Dark Knight Returns, I really do recommend you pick up this figure. Now, at the time I'm making this video, this figure is getting kind of hard to come by. He sold out really fast on Hobby Link Japan, and I believe he sold out on Big Bad Toy Store, so the best way to find him is secondhand market, where he's still relatively cheap at $100. I actually picked mine up from Hobby Link Japan, so I only paid about $80 for Batman, and then I got him shipped with several other figures, so the cost kind of balanced itself out. Overall, really happy with this Batman, and if you can get hold of him and you're a fan of Frank Miller's Dark Knight Returns, definitely add this guy to your collection. With that being said, guys, I'm KingofDragons 5000. Don't forget to like this video, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel. Go ahead and check out all my other action figure reviews, as well as all my other Mafex and Dark Knight Returns videos. Hopefully you find them informative. As always, if there's a figure you would like to see me review, let me know down in the comments, and if it's in my collection, I'll gladly have a look at it. While you're at it, check out my Instagram account for new and exciting action figure photos, and as always, ring that bell to be notified every time I upload a video. Until next time, guys, I'll see you later. Take care, everyone.